Hello everybody on YouTube, this is Super Nintendo, and this time I'm doing a actual review on Breath of the Wild now that I have finished the game, or at least got to the end credits. Now, I am going to say that I don't think this game deserves a 10 out of 10. Definitely high on the totem pole, but okay, with beating this game, I have beaten every game in the series except for the original Four Swords, which if I can come into my bedroom here, I have the Four Swords right here. I bought it from my friend, and she took off the sticker. But I have it right here with the Link to the Past Four Swords. And I think in this review, I'm just going to go over most of the flaws that I found with it. Sometimes the physics aren't ideal. Like, I've counted a number of times where I have hit a Guardian and, like, say the Guardian is, like, right here. You hit it, and it goes clear over there. I have no idea what the fuck is causing it. But, and the story, not the story per se, but the characters. Okay, in most other Zelda games, you are bring up a good example, Wind Waker, and Twilight Princess. At least with Midna and Tetra. You get to experience these characters grow as the game goes on. And by the end, you genuinely care about these characters. But none of the characters in Breath of the Wild, or at least that I've found so far, really grow that much. Yeah, they're funny. Yeah, they have pretty good, like, actual character. But they don't really grow beyond what you see of them. Besides Zelda. And even then, spoilers, most of what you see of Zelda is in flashbacks. So you're not really growing with them. You're seeing her growth, but you're not growing with them. There's not really a companion character in this game either. Like again, Midna, Tattle, Navi, or Fi. And say what you will about Fi, but she does grow as a character as the game goes on. In fact, in preparation for Breath of the Wild, I've beaten every Zelda game I own. And I own pretty much all of them. Like, for example, let me bring up my 3DS so I can... For example, I am making this on the fly. There is no script. I never use a script. For example, right there. Every Zelda game that I can possibly have on there, I own. Except for Hyrule Warriors, because I haven't really seen much of a reason to buy the 3DS version yet. I will eventually, but because of Zelda completionism, but... yeah. I also have the... I also have the collector's edition, which I bought this at Jay's I think. Either that or on Amazon, but it didn't have the box cover. So I made my own little box cover. See? It was back when I sucked at drawing. Don't judge me! Four Swords Adventures. And the games I showed last time when I did a review of this. Wind Waker and Twilight Princess. I got Skyward Sword on the Virtual Console. The only ones I don't own right now are Phantom Hourglass and Spirit Tracks, and I've beaten them both. I know what they have, but yeah, like I beat every game I own. Zelda 1, Zelda 2, Link to the Past, 4 times for that one because I played both the Game Boy and SNES versions twice. Wind Waker, Twilight Princess, once for each version. Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, Link's Awakening, the Oracle games, Minish Cap, Skyward Sword, Triforce Heroes, Link Between Worlds. If I'm forgetting any more, please. If I'm forgetting any. The only ones I didn't beat were, again, Phantom Hourglass and Spirit Tracks, and obviously the CDI games, as I don't own them anymore, but I don't know. Like, I've had the most fun playing this, and I think that's because of the gameplay. The gameplay is definitely the best aspect. And I love that it's open world again, but, or not like open world again, because technically speaking, every game is open world, except for Four Swords Adventures. I think the original Four Swords, Triforce Heroes, and whatnot. Isn't open world where, like, I mean, isn't Super Mario 64 technically an open world game? If I'm wrong about that, please correct me in the comment section below, but isn't it? Isn't it? No, I don't care if it isn't, but I just, isn't it? It's been really hot in my apartment recently, so if I look really sweaty or dirty, that's why. But yeah, like, character-wise, honestly, I think even a game like Link Between Worlds does a better job. Most of, like, almost all the only and most of the NPC characters, they only say like 2 things. Unless you trigger some very specific things, like, like this one character who at the beginning of the game, well, not at the beginning, after you get off the Great Plateau and you go in the direction that the game tells you to go, you don't have to, but it's there if you want it. And you try to jump off the bridge because you want to get to the shrine or whatever that you just saw off at the distance. The character will say, "Don't jump, you have so much to live for." Like, thinking you're going to commit suicide, which is pretty funny. Yeah, honestly, things like almost every Zelda game, aside from a few, like, every Zelda game since Ocarina of Time has really had at least one character that grows throughout the whole story, and you grow with them. Link's Awakening had Marin, or Talon, or whatever, that girl character with the flower. The Oracle games had a lot of the characters had that. Ocarina of Time had Navi. Majora's Mask had most of its cast. I didn't mean for that to rhyme. But one character in particular, Tattle. Wind Waker again had the pretty much the whole pirate crew. Link even grew as the game went on. He doesn't talk, but you can tell that he becomes more confident as the game goes on. Not that he was like insecure or whatever as at the beginning, but you can tell at the beginning he was just a lazy brother that slept all day and whatnot. And then by the end of it, he's a kick-ass hero with an awesome Master Sword, and I think becomes the first Link ever in any Zelda game to actually lose the Master Sword. Not just get it knocked out of his hand, but legitimately lose it. There is no more Master Sword in that timeline. Unless it washes up on shore or something. In Twilight Princess, you have Midna and a lot of the other characters, like Colin, who is a very shy little boy at the beginning. At least I think he's a boy. And by the end of it, he wants to follow in Link's footsteps and become a knight. Or a hero, or whatever. He even has like a little Kokiri sword shield thing. Or at least a shield that resembles the Kokiri shield from Ocarina of Time. Skyward Sword, Zelda grows from being this haha girl who is kind of bossy, but ends up and in that game she's not even a damsel in distress through most of it. Groose, oh my god, his character development was amazing. Well, not amazing, but it was something, you know? And it wasn't told to us in flashbacks. It wasn't Zelda's personality is, oh, I'm a failure. Link gets the Master Sword. I'm even more of a failure because he fulfilled his destiny, and I still can't even access whatever. And by the end of it, she's like, oh, I've accessed my destiny. I'm still... you defeated Ganon, even though you used my power to do it, and really, logically speaking, stuff like... But almost... Her character development, you don't grow with it. You know? Like, at least in my personal opinion, Wind Waker... Hell, Ocarina of Time did a better job, in my opinion, in terms of characterization, character development, and stuff like that. Honestly, I don't think that's enough to bring it down to, like, say, a 3.0 or whatever, because the story sucked. No. I think that's only enough to bring it down to, like, a 9.7 or something like that, because honestly, the characterization thing, that's more like a huge nitpick, but and most of the other things are glitches that aren't even game breaking, like Sonic 06, or the control is great. Most of my other flaws are really just things like sometimes the L Joy-Con would become desynced and Link would keep running when I don't want him to. Stuff like that, but then I realized that my phone's in the way. So that's my fault, not the game's. But gameplay-wise, it's definitely the best in the series. I'm not gonna take that away. I mean, things like voice acting and stuff, the voice acting's fine for most of the characters. Zelda is the only one that I really have an issue with. Again, she sounds most of the time like she just doesn't give a shit. I'm sure the voice actress is doing her best, but I think they probably could have gone with a different voice, like I don't know, the voice of Winry from Full Metal Alchemist, or Maka, or Tsubaki, from Soul Eater. Um, who would else? Who else would make a really good voice actress for Zelda? Yoko from Gurren Lagann, or Ryuko or something from Kill la Kill, or whatever. I feel like it was a miscast. Like, I get the reason why she sounds like this, but in the scenes where she's supposed to be like, oh, holy shit, things are actually starting to happen, she just sounds like she's totally uninterested. And I think it's because of the regal, oh no. Like, I'm not going to show you guys what happens, but I'll play like a little voice clip or whatever. I actually do have the game right in front of me. Uh, spoilers for this part if you guys haven't seen this. Okay? So spoilers ahead. I'm gonna place it right here so you guys.
How did it come to this? The divine beasts, the guardians, they've all turned against us. It was Calamity Ganon. It turned them all against us. And everyone, Mifa, Barbosa, Rivali and Daruk, they're all trapped inside those things. It's all my fault. Our only hope for defeating Ganon is lost, all because I couldn't harness this cursed power. Everything I've done up until now, it was all for nothing. So I really am just a failure. All my friends, the entire kingdom, my father most of all. I tried and I failed. I left them all to die.
And honestly, she sounds like that throughout the entire game, except for in one cutscene where she tries to make Link eat a frog. Where I think is the one time where, I mean, some of the time during that cutscene she sounded pretty good for what her character was trying to invoke. That sense of, oh shit, I fucked up and my entire kingdom is being laid to waste by these giant octopus robot things that can kill you. And but most of the time she sounds like you heard it. Most of the time in that cutscene, it feels like, well, my royal guards are all dead. My father is dead. And it's all my fault. I fucked up. But I don't give a shit. And honestly, that's a problem for me. Maybe it's because I'm not that too used to British sounding people, but yeah, it really sounds. I expect a lot more emotion almost every other character sounds great. Like Daruk, the Goron, or Rivali, the Rito person, or Busa, I think that's how you pronounce her name, of the Gerudo. Mifa of the Zora sort of sounds like Zelda, but in her case, you only see her in like 3 cutscenes, and only twice does she really talk. And so in her case, it's a little bit more acceptable. But in Zelda is in almost every one of these cutscenes. And okay, she doesn't sound horrible all the time. In fact, I think she's the first voice you hear. And there are cutscenes where she sounds amazing. But most of the time, she sounds like she just doesn't care. You know? So my final verdict, 9.7 out of 10. Definitely a really great Zelda game, but story-wise and character development-wise, I've played better. In fact, like I said, I played pretty much the whole series last month, so. But definitely one of my favorites. It's definitely going in my top 5 somewhere, but I don't know. With me, I rate my games by how much fun I had during the gameplay. If it's a puzzle game like Zelda, how good the puzzles were, which most of this game does have a lot of puzzles that did lock me out somehow. It took me a good while to figure out how to do them. But character development or story or whatever, if it's a story-driven or character, and Zelda is more of a gameplay-centered series, but it has a lot of story elements in it. And in a story game, characters and story are a must. You know, if you're gonna tell a story or whatever. Like, you could get away with that back in Zelda 1, Zelda 2, A Link to the Past, but after you start putting more and more text in there, I expect there to be a good story. And I'm going to be honest, Breath of the Wild didn't have that great of a story for me. Just my opinion. Don't ransack my YouTube channel telling me, oh, you're not a real Zelda fan, you're not a real Zelda fan. I've played every game in the series, except for the original 4 Swords. I guarantee you, anyone who is actually going to tell me, oh, you're not a real Zelda fan for disliking the story or characters of Breath of the Wild, I guarantee you, they haven't even beaten half of the Zelda games. For most of them. Okay? So, don't get on my case for not liking Breath of the Wild story. I still think it's one of the best, so yeah. So, I think I've rambled on long enough. And I'm sure you guys are tired of seeing my double chin mug. I'll see you later.